Failing a drug test is not really it's not one of those things that you think about as a kid, as a teenager. I mean, when it comes to you don't really know when it's you don't really know when it's coming, you know what I mean? Your parents just pretty much test you whenever the hell they want. And at the time, I had a drug counselor. I would meet up with him, and this is like right before I ever met up with him. I didn't know that I was going to be drug tested. I think the first time I was ever drug tested was with him. No, actually, no. The first time I ever got drug tested was with I think my mom. Like, I think it was, yeah, way before I had met up with my drug counselor, right? And I think I had tested, those stories weren't too interesting. They're just pretty much like, you know, I did something, got caught. My mom found out with like pretty much every drug that I've done. She's caught on. I mean, mother's intuition, they're never wrong, right? And yeah, like I think like 3 times I had been caught with my mom, you know, before my drug counselor. But anyway, when I finally met up with my drug counselor, you know, I didn't know when I was gonna meet up with him, right? So it was kind of random. And so I finally I ended up meeting up with him, and you know, the majority of the time I was thinking like, you know, obviously when you're a kid, you're like, fuck, I don't want anything to show up, you know what I mean? And I would drink massive amounts of water, and back then I was only doing weed, right? And so I didn't I knew that weed, it just stays in your fat. That's how it's that's where it gets stored, your fat. And I was a pretty skinny guy, but I didn't this was like before I had done, I think, wrestling. Because when I had done wrestling, the conditioning, pretty much the working out and the conditioning pretty much made me get away with testing positive for weed, because my body fat was just so low. But anyway, the first time he ever tested me with you know, when I had my first drug test, it was pretty weird, because he like waited right outside of the restroom, and I don't know, it was just kind of awkward, because he, you know, he handed me the cup, and he you know, he was like, all right, I'll wait right outside. And I was like, okay then. Well, I was like, at least he didn't come inside with me. And so the majority of the time I was in there, yeah, pretty much the whole time I was in there, as soon as I closed the door, I was like, well, how can I get away with it? And so in my mind, I was like, it would be a good idea to, you know, as I'm pissing, to get the cup, and as soon as the pee hits the water in the toilet, I can kind of scoop that up, you know, without making it sound suspicious or be suspicious. And you know, obviously the urine will dilute the water, right? And so that was my genius plan, right, to get away with it. And so I ended up doing that. I ended up scooping up the water, and you know, I did my business, whatever. And I finally, you know, I walked out and I gave him the piss cup, right? And so he, you know, what he would do is he would get his hand, and he would like firmly grasp the piss cup to like feel the temperature, I guess. And the cup, even the cup on it, it had like a little strip that would you know, it would also test the temperature of it, which I did not know. And that was the first and last time that ever happened, because he thought, you know, obviously he probably knew that I was like bullshitting him, you know what I mean? But he probably let it go because it was my first time. And yeah, it was just pretty crazy. So that was like the first time that I ever got caught failing a drug test. And there's many other, you know, that's just the first time. I didn't think it was like, that story was just like kind of like, you know, that was the very first time. It's kind of like a whatever story. The first time that I actually passed a drug test is actually more interesting because I think I shared it in my other video, actually. I'm not too sure. I think I did, which was when I was in wrestling. And actually I was so thin and fit that I would actually I would smoke weed every day for a week. I would actually stop smoking on Thursday, because I would meet up with him on Monday, and I would wear, you know, these jumpsuits and stuff, and I would run for 7 miles a day. And up until, so I would stop Thursday, run 7 miles a day up until Monday, and I would piss clean the entire time. It would always be negative, you know what I mean? And so that's even more of an interesting story. And what else? Also, before going into rehab, I actually which is pretty, it's pretty interesting, I guess, to say the least, because you would think at a rehab, and I went to one of the best rehabs in California, in Pasadena, and I actually kind of flew under the radar with that one. I had I think a big ass bottle of like mouthwash, which has alcohol, by the way. And I remember I ended up shitting my pants in the morning that day because I don't know, I guess I was just out of it, and I shit my pants, and I was like, well, I shit my pants, it's time to shower and get ready to go to rehab. And so yeah, that ended up happening, which is pretty embarrassing, but whatever, that was back then. So yeah guys, that's pretty much all I have for this week's drug related experiences slash stories, whatever you want to call it. Hope you guys like what you saw and heard. If you guys want to show some support, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Check out my website, slowbratty.net. What else? Follow me on some social media, and other cool info on my description in the video. And yeah guys, take care, and leave a like if you liked. Dislike it if you dislike it. Either way, it'll let me know. And yeah guys, take care. I'll see you next time. Bye.